So I guess we hit 1 year of episodes and we're like, fuck it. We'll just take a break for 2 weeks.
Right?
I was like, we don't need to. I was like, man, now we're breaking. But hey, it's summertime. Kids got trips to do, vacation, family vacations. At some point, this was going to happen.
Yeah, man, I fucking hate the summer.
There's so many kids around.
Yeah, dude, it's just, and like, there's nothing that's like a continuous thing for an extended amount of time, right?
Right.
Like I could sign up for football camps or soccer camps or whatever, like, but I remember going to the Naval Academy soccer camp. My ass was gone for like 2.5 weeks, man. You slept out there in the fucking Naval Academy, like you were gone.
Right, your parents found the right one to send you to. Like, which one is the longest in the catalog? You're going to that one. What, space camp? You don't like space? Don't care. You're going to that one.
Yeah, and like I couldn't find anything. You know, I mean, I'd look at the school flyers and stuff to do, but or I did find something, and I was like, I'm not paying $800. You're fucking out of your mind, you know?
Right.
Yeah, school needs to hurry up.
And on top of family vacations and everything, you had what we talked about a little bit last week, and I think maybe even the week before. I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. But MoviePass is literally blowing up. Okay, so if you're a podcast and you like to review new movies in the theaters, then you're like, and that's what you do when you're in between TV shows like we do. It's like, well, there we go. So Netflix has, I think we were complaining 2 weeks ago about the fact that, what were we complaining about? I mean, that seems like it was not it was because they started to surge pricing, so you couldn't really go on the weekends. We were like, oh, that's fine. We go on Mondays.
Why did you say Netflix?
Did I say Netflix?
Yeah.
MoviePass.
You still bitching about MoviePass?
Sorry. It's been... See, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I have no clue.
Yeah, dude, MoviePass is a clusterfuck right now. Like, it's kind of always been one.
Right.
Right, you know, but they were like watching that person trip and fall in slow motion, but they always seemed like they were going to catch their balance, so you had to like watch it play out, you know? You're like, ooh, nope, still going, he's got it. And now I just think it all, like they fell. And there's just really, and they're trying to pick up the pieces, and there's going to really be no way to put it back together.
Yeah, not really. Before we get any deeper into MoviePass, if you're finding us for the first time, welcome. This is the Two Dads Review podcast. You can always find us over at twodadsreview.com. That gives you links to all the places that our podcast, when we decide to record, is available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the big names. We're there. You can always find us there. Remember to hit subscribe and turn on your notifications, because it is not a standard delivery and upload schedule of our podcast. So when it comes up, you'll get notified, and that's a good thing. You can also go over to youtube.com/2dadsreview as well. All the podcasts are up there with a nice little title card as the video. And yeah, so that's how you find us. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out anywhere for social media. Two Dads Review, the word two. And yeah, that's where we are. Find us, follow us. It's good stuff. But yeah, we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do next, and we're gonna give you guys, during this episode, we're gonna break down a couple things that we've done in the past couple weeks, and then what's going to happen this next year for this podcast. So it's going to be a good time. But yeah, back to MoviePass.
I'm at the point I got to figure out if I want to keep MoviePass or not.
I told you when I was over at your house a couple days ago that I literally am paying $9.95, which, as of Monday, they announced will be going up to $14.95 shortly, sometime in the next 30 days. I'm paying that money for the sheer ability to watch what happens on the app and how asinine it is, and how when they offer a service, they don't provide it. And at some point, maybe you can only say it's a technical glitch for so long. Now they're finally starting to come out and saying, no, we're just going to not offer you every movie in every theater anytime that they have it. At some point, you could be driving to the theater and get to the theater, and it goes, no, never mind. We're not letting you get any movies that night. Like that's what people are posting about online. Like, they get in the car, drive the 20 minutes to the theater. By the time they get to the theater, they've shut all of them down. Like tonight, they shut them all down for tonight because it's Thursday. So don't go to the movies.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, like, MoviePass even put in their little email statement, like, you know, make sure you check the app before you leave your house.
Yeah, well, I don't live right down the street. We have movie houses 20 minutes in one direction or 20 minutes in the other direction. So if you guys do something in that 20 minutes, then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
It's like refresh the app, make sure everything's okay. But yeah, it's interesting. So we're going to try some new stuff. We're going to try something different. We're going to pull, ironically, I have a list of movies on my notes app on Google Keep that I like have written down over the past few years of like, I need to watch these movies. But as Corey said before in the long in the history of this podcast, I consume a exponential amount of television that I probably shouldn't. So there's not a lot of movie time in there. So me sliding into movie is like, I'm like, oh crap, I got so many TV shows backing up now because I'm watching a few movies.
Yeah, well, it's scary how much you,
yeah, it's bad.
like television you can intake, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll be like, have you heard about this? And I'm like, I didn't even know this fucking show existed, dude. Like, what subgenre, subreddit forum did you find this thing on to like add to your rotation?
Hey, you're the one that found Blood Drive, okay? That one was hard that was hard to believe when you told me what it was about. So I was like,
dude, Blood Drive. Damn it! I was so pissed when that show got canceled.
Yeah, it sucks. That's why you hate television. That's why I make you watch TV shows.
That's why. Yeah, I think that's why I like movies better, because I know they're like a one-off, or like I know that the most I'll get is probably a trilogy involving a certain group of characters, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, like Marvel's like, hey, we've done this whole 10-year thing, but they also threw out a bunch of like individual films or brought in other characters to kind of like fill the gaps. You know, it was like you got 3 Iron Man films and they're like, okay, we're not doing anything solo with this dude anymore.
Right. He's done.
Like, it's just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, at least the big TV shows that like are major hits, the studios pretty much tell you when it's ending. They're like, this is the final season. It's the ones that we get into that are like unknowns. That's ones you love, you like sink your heart into, because you're like, it's my little treat for me and no one else knows about it. And then you realize, oh shit, wait, nobody knows about it, therefore nobody's watching it and they're gonna cancel it, which is too bad.
Yeah, dude, that's why I like shows. I feel like I like shows on sci-fi a lot more or at least I get into them a lot more, because there's a minimum almost of 3 seasons for every sci-fi show, right?
Right.
Like,
Sci-fi doesn't. It's sci-fi like and CW doesn't cancel shit.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna give you 3, man, because we understand that you got to invest a little something into these. You can't, and if we get a hit, awesome. But otherwise, like, you know, at least we'll try to like build it up. But you can almost always tell by season 3, season 4 of every single TV show that's not Game of Thrones-esque, right? You know, like a big production show. Like, you can go, you're not gonna make it, man. I know it now. Like, I wrote it out, but I know you're just not gonna make it.
Right. Well, and at that point, if I've given you 2 seasons, I'm riding the whole ride. I don't care if it's any good or not. I'm like, I've already sunk 2 years into this. I'm gonna finish this thing out now. You owe it to me.
Yeah, but you know, to like give up on any TV show unless it's just, and I don't even want to say the show, like I don't want to even say like the show's bad, right? It's not your thing,
right? Like,
because I don't want to write something off because you thought it was shit. Like, where I could just be like, we don't got the same taste in that kind of stuff, man. Like, those shows are like the fucking quintessential like teasers, right?
Right.
Like, because somebody may think it's bad, but you're like, the show's fucking awesome. Like, how do you think this is the worst? But all of a sudden you find out that you're like in the minority of the group that likes this odd, dark, weird thing or something like that, you know, or this over the top. There we go. Yeah, there we go. You know, like just goody two-shoe show, but it's fucking awesome. And you're like, I need you to support this. You got to get on this bandwagon.
Hey, do some advertising. Get out there. Let everybody know you exist. Yeah. So luckily this podcast has attached itself to a couple of big TV shows. Funny enough, though, 2 of the 3 we're doing, at least, they're ending. So if you're wondering what we're doing, if you're a returning listener, you're wondering what we're doing for the next few months, American Horror Story, which is one of the first things we reviewed on this show, is coming back on September 12th. So starting soon after that, we'll have our weekly episode review and recap of American Horror Story. Apocalypse is what this year is called. And all I know is it's got a red background and the word apocalypse and like some black nasty finger and like a red baby. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be like a pullback to season 1. You remember the tail end of season 1 where the child was born and they were like, if a ghost gets a person pregnant, that's bad news bears. Like that's the apocalypse.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere it was tying a bunch of stuff in from all the seasons.
Yeah, it's bringing that in. Then I think it's bringing in not Asylum. Doesn't matter because you know what they're gonna do. What they always do, and it's gonna infuriate the fuck out of me. Is they're gonna make all these really cool backstories from certain people, and then or do certain things that you're going to want answers to, and they're never going to fucking touch it again.
Never going
to. And I'm still going to be sucked in to the show the whole time. And then when it's all said and done, I'm going to go, motherfuckers, you never answered this.
Hey, well,
and then everybody's going to go because it's this closed universe thing, and really all the seasons are tied together. And you know what? Well, unless they make 58 fucking seasons at this point.
We're not
tying all this shit together.
Right. Yeah, there's all of those breakdowns online about how each season is tied to what and whose character is related to who, and it's hard to follow. Last year,
dude, I need to find the article now because there was one I was reading that was talking about how the characters that are not like Sarah Paulson and
Evan Peters,
right?
Mm-hmm.
That the other actors were playing like their real life selves while they played it was this weird thing of how they tied it into like the series itself was connected to their real life somehow, because they weren't on for this season, it was because this was and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like it was kind of reading. It was along the lines of reading the first time you read about how the Pixar universe is like connected, and you really go down that rabbit hole and how they like explain cars and like everything, and you're going, holy shit, that makes so much sense. At the same time, you're like, oh, dude, I can't. I shouldn't have read that.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, we weren't, and with American Horror Story, like we were not pleased with last season. It started out good, and it went downhill quickly. So I hope it is better. Is this one in the future? I think this one's in the future too. Like it's set. It's not nothing that's like the time period is like not. It's like in the future from now. So I don't know how else to say future, but it's not 2018.
Yeah, but it's not like it's.
Like sci-fi future
30 40, everybody's in spaceships. No, it's like it's 2048.
Okay,
we're 3 presidents removed, kind of thing. Like I don't think it's like newer, but I don't want to use the word space age. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll probably see something where you go, that's fucking cool. But you know who has that right now? Really rich people. It just hasn't
Right.
hasn't been mass produced enough for everybody else.
True. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I watch it every season, so got to get to it. It can't get here soon enough since we can't see new movies anymore. And at least not the week they come out. So that's why we're going to pick some other movies that aren't new and review those for you guys. Because why not? They're out there. They're good stuff. I know they're good. They got to be good. I hope they're good. If they're not, we'll tell you they're not good. But that's what we're going to do. We were supposed to do Equalizer 2, and actually you and I both went and saw it on opening. Well, the week after it opened.
Yeah, right. Like,
and I don't want to. And you know what? We both decided not to review it and recap it our standard way because. In my opinion, it doesn't deserve us to spend 2 hours on it.
That sounded so snobby.
It did. It didn't. It wasn't meant to be snobby because, to be completely honest, I watched the first one the week before the second one came out because I wanted to make sure I was caught up on all the plot, make sure I got all the it was fresh in my mind, and they took everything that was cool about the first one and dulled it down, and didn't really focus on it. And his whole drive, and they made it into a standard Hollywood movie. And I was like, I've seen this plot. Like, I know this plot, and I can tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah, this was like, not that it was overhyped, right? But it had the same type of feeling. When something gets overhyped and then you watch it and you're like, I mean, it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but this movie, it was a convoluted mess. Like it
couldn't figure out what it was going to be.
Yeah. From like what what the original Equalizer was and how just kind of, holy shit, man. I did not see that coming from Denzel in this film. Like, I knew he was a bad dude, but like the way he killed the people, or like his cool background, and like how he kind of basically MacGyvered every trap because he's so specialized in what he did, and he had the cool like other tracking of the bad guys and stuff. This one was Denzel, I'm too old for this shit. Like, you know,
right?
Like he still talked a good game, but he didn't look in shape. Like, he didn't.
I'm not even worried about that. I'm worried about the first one with the helping people and his disability, because he's OCD, at least. I mean, hyper OCD. You know, he had all of his routine stuff and his, you know, had to have certain things certain ways and close the door so many times. And they did a lot of that stuff and focused a lot on that in the first movie. And it was kind of cool because you're like, oh, he's not just, he has a handicap, but he's also like uses that to also be a badass because he hyperanalyzes everything. And things are going to go the way they're going to go because he's going to make sure they go that way. You know, and timing himself during the fights. Like, I think he may have clicked the stopwatch once. They kind of, that was the worst part. At the beginning of the movie, they kind of did I'm helping somebody just to hook you, and then it was like, and standard Hollywood revenge, my mentor gets killed, I go after the bad guys who were actually my friends from the past, and blah blah blah. And it's like, I've seen this, I could go pull 400 movies offline. There's the exact same plot right here, like we said with, what movie was it?
But even in this movie, there was so many like odds and end helping jobs that he was doing throughout this whole film. Like, at a certain point, I remember commenting to myself going, how many fucking people is he going to help? Like, he helps the guy with the painting. He helps the kid with the paint job for the graffitied walls. Like, he helps his old team. He just in a taxi cab driving around decides to go help some random street, like, you know.
But would you rather have seen 2 hours of him? I would like to see 2 hours of him doing Lyft driving on the weekends and literally just doing what he did to the rich guys, like, for 2 hours. At least it would have been.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be, right? And I was like, cool, I'm all right with this, dude. Like, guy's retired, but he's still like, I want to help, and I'm obviously have a super duper highly skill set to go kick ass, right?
Right.
And I know like the whole old team nemesis like trope came and like ruined the movie, but like what I was getting at was they even touched on those like little moments like here and there and briefly that like at the end of the film after the big shootout and all that stuff, which was, god damn it, did that piss me off so much through that fucking shootout scene. But all they could do was kind of like throw like glimpses of, oh yeah, hey, by the way, all this shit worked out.
Everybody's fine.
Just so you know, while all of this was going on and he had to run around and save the one kid now, he still managed to find the guy's sister from the painting that hadn't been in that you only get to see like twice of like some guy telling a story about it, you know, like just some random old guy, here's some crazy background story. But by the way, we're going to prove how awesome this guy is, that he manages to somehow take care of this in the background of this action film you're watching.
Right. Because the fight scenes, the action portion of it was fair to good, maybe even a couple of great parts, but they were few and far between. But, you know, the first one, the fight scenes were all fantastic in it.
Yeah, no, the hand-to-hand combat stuff was awesome. The last shootout scene with the guy on top of the fucking tower, that pissed me off because I'm like, you're out in a hurricane.
Right. There was not. He was not aiming anywhere near where he should be aiming for that wind,
or a severe tropical storm.
Right.
At the very least, like let's put it this way: the storm was so bad in that oceanside town that they evacuated the city. Now I don't know like why they even let Denzel's character go through, because he was like, "Hey, I got to go make sure I turn the gas off or some shit." Like that was his excuse. Like
number one, like, well, this movie would have been over right there because you would have had to turn around and go home.
Yeah, like I feel like every police officer looking at that storm would have been like, yeah, sorry, John. That's not fucking happening. Like, you know what? If your house blows up, it's because the wind fucking took it away, not because the gas light fucking caught.
The gas is still on, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, if it's blowing hard enough, it's good. It don't matter if you turned it off or not. It's getting ripped out of there, and it's going to be going anyways.
Well, and then you had the sniper on top of the water tower, and this crazy ass storm's going on, and somehow he doesn't get blown at all until the one time he stands up. There's a big enough gust, it rocks him across the whole. Like I know it was just and it's painful.
It's why we're not going to spend any more time on it, because we don't need to, because it wasn't that good. It wasn't good enough for us to sit through a whole 2 hours and talk about it 2 weeks after it's been in theaters.
Yeah, it was bad.
Not good. And the worst part is, since we're going to not get off the topic of it, it's all written by the same guy. Like, it's the same writer. It's not like they changed up and like they were like, no, we're going to go with a more mainstream guy or somebody who's cheap who's going to write us the same. It's the same guy.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, so Equalizer 1, fuck, that actually, because I read news that some other movie that's coming out that I thought was like pretty cool, they hired the Equalizer writer, and I was like, oh, awesome. Hopefully it's not the same guy that wrote the second one, but because I figured the Equalizer writer had nothing to do with the second one. They're just like, we're making a sequel.
His name is Richard Wink. He has written, listen to this list of movies: 16 Blocks, The Expendables 2, the first Equalizer, The Magnificent Seven, which wasn't really supposed to be that good. I haven't seen it yet. And Jack Reacher Never Go Back. So it's not like he's written nothing. Like, he's written some good action stuff. But an Equalizer of those definitely stands out. But, I mean, some of the, I don't know. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, but when you write a movie like...
And the same director, by the way. Antoine Fuqua is also the same director from Equalizer, the first Equalizer. Everybody is the same. How this movie is the next step in that story makes no sense to me.
I feel like this is when you're a professional fighter, man, and you've done good stuff your whole career, and then you get that one knockout, and you're just never quite right after it. Like, you can never get back to the championship. Like, you may have a few more fights, and you know, you may barely lose it, but then there's like some young up and comer, and he just kind of like beats the shit out of you, and you're like, all right, it's fuck. Everybody's telling you to retire,
right?
Like, Equalizer was on par with the first fight knockout. Like, this is like where you go.
It makes you sit up and take notice of that guy.
I appreciate what you've done, man, but the drop off you had here was so significant that I am now worried about anything you touch in the future.
Agreed. Yeah. So it's definitely wait till it gets on Netflix or rented at Redbox, or if anybody even does Redbox anymore. I don't even know if that's even a thing. I see them, but I never see anybody. I don't see the lines queued outside of Redbox like you did 5 or 10 years ago. So
yeah, but I don't think dude, that's like when Wawa gas would first come into town, and like it'd be 99 cents, and you were like, whoa, yeah, I'm getting that shit. Nah, I mean, I still see people like those Redbox machines, man. They got to make a killing.
They must for a buck. Hell yeah.
You know, like it's hey, I'm going up to Sevi and grab some beers and grab a movie, go home and like drop them off, and like the amount of foot traffic that goes through those things just. They have to make so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it may not be like a ludicrous amount of money where you're like, whoa, man, this is the greatest idea ever. But I guarantee if you probably looked at the numbers, the amount of, like, just if you looked at the numbers of just one of those machines, you would go, no fucking way. Right? Like, get the fuck out of here. That's how much that shit rakes in?
Right.
Like, God damn.
You're like, why did I come up with that idea first?
Right? Like, yeah, I'm over here making fun of these guys thinking they're using some outdated methodology, and they're over here just like, nah, man, you know what we did? We made it smaller, and we put it in places people already fucking go.
Right. They just swing by and snatch it up.
That's why they're smart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so Equalizer 2, wait for it to come out on Blu-ray or whatever and pick it up then, or rent it somewhere if you can, or...
In no way, shape, or form buy this movie.
Yeah, don't buy it and don't go to the theaters for it. It may be the only thing that MoviePass will show you, but don't go see it. Don't even waste their money on it. I did get to go see Mission Impossible Fallout last night, though. I did go see that one. I know you haven't seen it yet, and I won't do any spoilers of it, but I will tell you...
I honestly, I probably won't see it, man.
No, it's you. Well, yeah, I hear you. And I like the Mission Impossible series. Like I think I've seen all of them. I know the newer ones. I think the newer ones have kind of melded together a little bit because they're all kind of like, was Tom Cruise going to hang off this time? Like and that same thing happened to me in this movie is that what takes me out of the movie storyline is watching it to determine whether or not Tom Cruise is actually doing that stunt or not. I'm like, is that Tom Cruise? And then I watched the behind the scenes today. Wouldn't that just be
kind of you in any Tom Cruise movie at this point, though?
Especially the Mission Impossible series, yeah. But yeah, so with every Tom Cruise action movie, you're right. You're like, I wonder if he's doing this stunt. I wonder if he's doing that stunt, because he does, and he is as close to James Bond in real life as we could get as a human being, because he can stunt drive cars. He can drive motorcycles the same way. He can fly a fucking helicopter. I'm guessing he can fly a plane, because if you can fly a helicopter, a plane has to be like easy. He has to already know how to do that too. You know, he could
Probably.
because he flew. I'm not sure how much.
Dude, he's got like fucking 900 billion thetans. Like that motherfucker can probably like fly if he just by himself, and he just doesn't do it.
Right, it's all Scientology. I fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he flew the choppers for half that stuff. I mean, it was him hanging off the bottom of it in the trailer that you see, like hanging off the bottom of the chopper, and they just had him rigged to a fall line where you can fall and it'll just like slow you down a little bit. I was like, what? So it took me out of the movie. That being said, it's a good movie. Henry Cavill, for all the hate he gets, and I think you and I have talked about this episodes ago on the podcast, but Henry Cavill is a great actor. Like, he is good. And if you want to see him when he's not trying to be Superman, which even though everybody bitches and moans about all the DC movies, but he looks more like Superman and has the acting chops to do it, except Superman pretty much is always just stoic and stands there unless he's fighting. So you're not gonna be able to emote a lot as Superman. But if you want to go watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E. if you want to see Henry Cavill doing action stuff at his best, and he does a good job in Mission Impossible Fallout as well.
They need to hurry up and get that second one out too, because like Armie Hammer, man, like he's fucking fantastic in that movie, and that goddamn what was it, Lone Ranger? Yeah, Lone Ranger. Like he is so good in The Man. What is it, The Man from You?
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, I always try to spell it. I always try to spell it out like it's cool, but I always fuck it up.
Hey,
but he's so
no,
yeah,
I'm
right. I always slow down. I'm like UNC L. Yeah, we're good. But like he's so good in that movie, and it's almost this. I feel bad for him because Lone Ranger got such hype, and I personally don't even think he really did a terrible job in that movie. It just wasn't a good like story. Like there really wasn't a whole like a lot of coolness to it. And I was like, man, I really expected to see him in a bunch of stuff after that. And I kind of feel like he got like Casper Van Dien'd a little bit.
Well, first things first, Johnny Depp doesn't share the screen. So if you're in a movie with Johnny Depp and you're the title character, but he's in your movie, you're not.
I'm so glad you just said that, because I was literally about to say the one thing about the Mission Impossible movies that I didn't like after the first one. Because in the first one, you meet Ethan and you meet his team, and it's basically like Ocean's 11 spies, right? You're like, cool. everybody's got their little piece. And then I know throughout the other movies, like everybody always, but the more and more it is, it's just like, I got to go save the day. I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the reckless guy. Like, and I was like, dude, you got Simon Pegg. What? Jeremy Renner is in there, like a Renner, however you say his name. I don't fucking know. Hawkeye. You got Hawkeye in there. Like, you got like what?
Vic Raines.
Yeah, like a solid crew that could act in their own fucking movies if they wanted, you know. And I really thought you would have more and more interaction and kind of get this whole. Like, I get it. Ethan's going to be the head Hydra.
Right.
But everybody else would kind of be right there with him. And when it knew to do the Robert Downey Save the Planet, like, you knew he would have to be the guy to be the one.
Right.
But it seemed like after I watched the second film, I was like, dude, they didn't even give a fuck about the rest of this crew. They're just like, oh, hey, remember we cast Simon in the first one? We better bring him back so we can make a telephone call real quick.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Pegg and Vic Raines' characters, and even the female love interest that have been through a few of the movies, and his wife, or like from, I guess, last movie that they got married at the end. I forget which movie it was, but like they all have decent screen time. But you're right, it's literally the Tom Cruise show. It always is. And even when you're watching behind the scenes, like, I could direct that movie because the director's not doing anything. Tom Cruise is doing all of it.
Yeah, right? Like, just make sure that camera's at that angle. You're good to go.
Right, yeah. You work on the lighting, and I'll tell you how the entire scene's going to go. I did find it funny to watch the behind the scenes, and they're doing the mock-up of the helicopter, like how to film the helicopter fly and stuff, like with little model helicopters, like in like Tyco toys. Like, all right, so you're gonna fly this way, and they'll just hold these little tiny helicopters. Like, that's great. That's how that gets mapped out. So yeah. Anyways, go see it. It's great in the theaters. It's a good big action film. It's a whole bunch of Tom Cruise running, because he runs in everything, and also flying and driving and driving a motorcycle and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And very little bit of the CGI. Pretty much, from what I could tell from the behind the scenes, the CGI is like when he hits the car and goes flying over it, the what you saw in the trailers. You could actually see that it's CGI to then him like rolling. You're like, okay, well, I guess Tom Cruise isn't invincible completely. But yeah, so it's good. It's a good movie. I'd go check it out.
Yo, Tom Cruise is at that point, man, where he just looks old.
He's getting there. Yeah, he's looking a little, right? A little puffy.
Like he's got, like his face is a little puffier. He's got this, like, he's put on that used to be beer weight for college guys. It comes back. It's somehow just like a 5% layer of fat that just grows everywhere that you can't shake. Like, he's got that, and it kind of threw me off there for a little bit. I was like, really thought you were going to be that guy that
stayed young
that
forever,
just somehow never aged, right? Well, dude, I saw Ed Norton on the roast of Bruce Willis, and poor fucking Ed Norton looks like he's lived Fight Club for the past like 15 years, and this is the aftermath of recovery. Like, I was like, God damn it, man. Maybe I just haven't seen Ed Norton in a film in a really, really long time. And he hasn't been in the news for doing anything crazy because he's just kind of not that guy. I was like, God damn, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, man.
He's been in an underground fight club apparently. Yeah, that's crazy. I did see that roast came out a couple days ago. I mean, did I see that Demi Moore like dropped in like as a surprise?
Yeah, she's the final.
Nice.
She's the final boss.
I need to watch that. Is it? Do I need to watch it? Is it good?
Yeah, I watched some clips of it. I haven't sat down and watched like the whole thing because everybody's already like put this is the best part. So I'm like, well, I don't really give a fuck about I care about Jim Ross when he talks about the very intros of bringing people on and shit, but like the whole unless there's like a really good spat that happens between two people that are roasting, which everyone will then highlight that clip. Like, I don't care about the other subtle interactions,
Nice.
But like Demi gets him pretty good, and like Bruce the whole time is just laughing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the best part about it, is he is literally writing every just scathing insult with a smile on his face, like, yep, that's me. Where like sometimes you'll see people on that show, man, like that, like don't realize what a roast is.
It's like, have you not seen...
Or never have seen one over the past decade of how, like, vicious they can be.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, now you just look like a dick, dude. You shouldn't have been on the fucking show. Like, he was laughing. At no point, like, did they pan to his face because he was like, okay, I'm gonna show you like what Bruce Willis power is. You know, like he never really made one of those like, I'm gonna ruin you in the background. Your career's now over. You have no idea.
Right.
You know,
I'm
like
writing
faces.
this down.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're saying he smiled more in that roast than he did for like his past 8 movies? Like,
dude, I even think that people called him out on that shit too, and that like was just like I think Ed Norton was like, I think he made a comment about like basically phoning it in. Right. Like it's like no one phones it in better than this guy, you know.
All right, I know what I'm doing when I get off recording this. I'm going to go upstairs and go on YouTube and watch all the clips of it. Nice.
Yeah, dude, you'll probably like, I laugh, but you like where my laughter really gets going is like when you're already like gasped. So like I know you'll be dying by through this. You'll just be like, I gotta fucking pause it, dude. I can't fucking breathe right now.
Nice. So okay, well, good. So shall we figure out what we're watching next? What we're watching for next week? I've got my list of 40 that I have amassed of like of finding lists online like over the past few years. It's been my list. We're gonna hit a random number generator. We're gonna figure out one movie off this to watch. We're gonna watch it for next week, and we're gonna do this until September when American Horror Story comes on. Then we're gonna do American Horror Story, and then it's gonna be, you know, this will all change if MoviePass decides to let us start go see movies in the theater again. Because right now it's kind of like, sorry, you can't see anything new. So what are you gonna do? Can't see.
Yeah, I'm at the like, because of this change, or even if I knew, hey, it's just opening weekend,
mm-hmm.
like, and I was like, all right, cool, then we'll just go next week. Everything gets pushed back a week. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah. Whatever. But like, I'm already at the point with MoviePass now where I'm like, you're charging me more money. I'm okay with that, but things kind of like got to go back. But you're telling me you're taking stuff away, and then you're not giving me any info on how long these basically blackouts
and we're dealing with.
So like now it's at the point of like, how many movies am I really going to want to go watch? Because maybe by the time I can watch them, like I don't even give a fuck anymore.
Well, and some of them will never be able to be seen. Like, I believe, and the whole point of this change for our podcast, and I'm sure for numerous podcasts out there, the big change is that Mission Impossible was the first one that they said, you're not going to get to see it. You're definitely not going to get to see it opening week, not for the next couple weeks. So you and I will be playing it by ear as MoviePass lets us go to whatever. Because we're look, our podcast is Two Dads Review. We're dads. We have families. We have things. I'm not blowing money on $16 tickets. I'll take the golden goose of $9 a month unlimited movies one time. That's fine. I can handle that, but I'm not paying for every movie. I can't do it. This is our fun hobby. I'm not paying movies every week. I'm not doing it.
Well, yeah. Well, even if like we switch to another movie service, like I don't want to pay $20 a month to only be limited to fucking AMC or
Nothing against AMC, but it's just one
like
theater.
You're just out of my damn way.
Right. I got to go the wrong way to get to you, and I don't want to go up there anyway. So I like the idea of the multiple theaters. So hopefully somebody will either swoop in and make a better deal. I would pay more money. I would pay $20. I would pay double. I'd pay $20 a month to go back to how MoviePass was when I first bought it, which was unlimited movies, unlimited times watching them. Because there's only yes, there's a billion podcasts in the world, and I'm sure of that billion, 500 million that do movie reviews. But so, I mean, you don't really have that many folks going back to the same movie over and over and over again. So, who knows? It is what it is. And honestly, not doing new release movies or only doing new release movies is ignoring the vast amount of movies that are not new releases that are really good movies that we probably should see before we die. So when we go through my list, if there's still movies we're going to see, we'll find some other, list of movies you see before you die. We'll find some stuff like we've never seen that. Let's go review that movie. And, we'll bring our little interesting take on it. We'll do, we do what we do. It happens.
Yeah, we'll find something to talk about.
Exactly. So are you, because now we haven't done this yet, so you ready to find out what we're going to watch this week off my list? I'm about to roll the number generator now. So I got it counted out.
I guess so.
All right, here it goes. Number 30 on my list. Let's see what Don't Think Twice is.
I got it. Let's see. What is this? Dude, I think these are just movies you wrote that you wanted to watch.
No, that can't be it. This is not working right.
Dude, I'm telling you, you probably saw it in a trailer and you thought it was funny and you put it down. Well, I mean, it's got a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
The one with the one with Keegan-Michael Key in it?
Yeah. Average rating 7.8. Like, for one of the others, certified fresh 98%. Okay. Audience score 69%.
All right. I'm okay with the comedy.
It says, when a member of a popular New York City improv troupe gets cast on a hit TV show, the rest of the group, all best friends, start to realize that not everyone is going to make it after all. And
written and directed by Mike Birbiglia. So yeah, okay. I'll do it. Let's do it. That's if 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's comedy. It'll be a nice week. It'll be a nice chuckle week. Is that good?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I don't know if your list is.
Yeah, there's some that
I mean, your list is cool because I like it that it's just shit that you haven't seen, but I think you should be prepared that a lot of your list may end up being when you were watching all the reviews of these and you were like, yeah, all right, I get it that they're on there, and then you saw the one trailer below it and you were like, ooh, squirrel, what's that?
Right.
Yep, that looks cool. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those made it in there.
True. But there is a long list of big name sci-fi cornerstone type shit. Logan's Run, Weird Science, Being John Malkovich, those kind of movies. Those are ones that I know that you need to watch that I've not seen before.
Yeah.
So there is good ones, but you're right. This is kind of an odd first one to start out with.
I mean, apparently it was people liked it. So I mean, I don't know if it's really that bad. That's what I like about I like the greatest movie idea, blah blah blah. But I'm also, I don't know how to put this, on the side of fuck that kind of list because it's also the exact same movies that are on everybody's list. I don't care. I don't care that it's not a top 100 movie. The movie came out in 2016. 98% of people thought that movie was fucking good. Cool. I'm down with it. It probably a good, worthwhile movie. I would rather watch something like that than. No offense to you, because I know this is going to sting you a little bit. And I only use it as an example because I know you're going to be like, I fucking hate you. Soylent Green.
You motherfucker.
That is a good movie, but...
Everyone should see Soylent Green.
I don't really care to watch a movie like that. You know what I'm saying? An older movie like that.
When we watch this movie next week, I'm replacing this with Soylent Green to keep the list going. I will add Soylent Green to the list. That has to be watched. If you have not seen Soylent Green, you should go watch it. It is a great movie. Charlton Heston, probably. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good movie. I liked it. But when we're doing a random list of what to watch,
right?
Honestly, a movie from the 70s, unless it is just a fucking comedy gem, I really don't care. I don't want to go back and watch that kind of shit.
I hear you.
There'll probably be very rare films with those lists that I would get excited for. To me, this one was cool because we both were like, well, what the fuck's that about? And we're like, oh shit. Actually, people thought this movie was good. I like that aspect of it, right?
Right.
But if you knew that with some top 100 lists, you're just all right, man, when Schindler's List hitting? Because I'm waiting for those fucking just row after row of movie we get that's going to emotionally scar me that we're going to have to review. Right. I don't want to hit that. And I know they're going to be on everybody's list. There's going to be I guarantee if you look at those lists, 40% of those films you would probably look at and go, especially if you've already seen them, you'd be like, there's no fucking way I'm watching that shit twice.
Right. Now,
and I don't even want to hit one of those good films that I haven't seen where I like, because I know it takes a very special mood for me to be in. And in my fragile state right now, like, I don't want to get shook too hard by a movie.
Being this podcast is our hobby and just something we do for fun, I reserve veto rights when we generate some movie that's shit, that's going to just take you down the wrong path. I'll be like, no, you know what? We don't need to watch that one. Not now.
Yeah, right? Like Sleepers falls on there.
Nope, you can't watch Sleepers. You just now finally got Kevin Bacon back in his good graces with you. We can't go swerving that shit again. So no Sleepers for you either. So yeah, so that's what's going to come up for the next, I don't know, at least 6 months, because American Horror Story is going to run for 10 to 13 episodes. So when we get into September, that'll be our review for a while. And then hopefully Discovery will be coming out beginning of next year, maybe. So we may have to fill in the holiday time. Maybe we'll do like a winter like horror month or something, because I'd like to just like go through some horror movies that I haven't seen, and you're a big horror buff, so like I kind of want you to come every week with like a horror movie. And I know that American Horror Story is going to go through October, so I'm not worried about doing it in October, but we can definitely do like horror movies too. Maybe we'll do it every other week. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it'll be fun. It'll be good for us to sit and talk about. And I need you to introduce me to more horror movies I've not seen.
Okay. I can do that.
Nice.
So you're like, all right, so what, okay, like just quickly off the top of your head, like what have you seen that would be like a big one? So I don't even fucking. Well, let's see. Like, have you seen like every Evil Dead movie?
I hate that you start there, because I think I know I've seen the first one. I watched it recently. I also watched the remake, which doesn't really count, but I watched the remake of the original as well. I'm not sure.
Remake's fucking awesome. Like, remake's awesome.
I'm not sure I've seen the second or third one, other than like when it used to run on like TNT in the 90s every other Saturday.
So you haven't seen Army of Darkness,
right?
Because that's the third one, and you haven't seen Evil Dead 2. Well, then that's where we're going to start.
That's
because fine. We'll just start right at Evil Dead 2, because that is my probably 1A film of all time.
Good.
Like, I fucking love that movie. And Army of Darkness is, you've probably used phrases from that film and like don't even realize it.
Right.
You know, like that's how many goddamn amazing, just like one-lining references you can pull from that. Like that Army of Darkness is one of those movies that if you're around a group of people that have watched it, as soon as someone drops like a little one-liner from it, the next 10 minutes are everyone spouting off comebacks that are from reference from different parts of the movie that still somehow keep that main conversation flowing.
Nice.
Right? Like that's the type of film that like that. Yeah. When TBS started running that movie from Thanksgiving to the end of October was like the smartest thing they ever did, because
is that back?
Why did that backwards? Yeah, from October till the end of there we go. Yeah, I did it totally backwards. But like that was like the best thing they ever did.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like you saying, like, unless I caught it on TV, to me when that movie came on is like catching Shawshank. Like it doesn't matter where it's at, you just go,
yep.
Looks like I'm here for the next 45. All right.
Yep. Here goes the end of the movie. I know he gets out. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in fact, why wait? I'll tell you what. We'll pull one off my list this week, and then next week we'll do Evil Dead 2. We'll do. Okay, next week is going to be this Don't Think Twice. We pull out this list. Then the week after that, we'll do Evil Dead 2. We'll go back and forth. You and I will give each other. You pick one, I'll pick one. Because to further answer your questions, when it comes to my horror experience, I'm not afraid of horror movies. I do like to watch them in the daytime, but I'll watch a lot of them. And I've, especially like in the mid, like 2010 time frame, like in that, like a couple of years on either side of that, there was a whole bunch of like remakes to like 70s horror. So like I went back and watched like Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
I went back and watched like, did I watch Straw Dogs, or did I just know it existed?
Dude, I remember going to the video fucking outlet place that we had in Wyoming, right? I remember going there with my buddy and his dad, and it wasn't like we even went to a Blockbuster. Like, we went to this like building that looked like it used to be a house that maybe got turned into like something else, and they actually had like the red curtain section, you know, like
nice.
you couldn't go into. Like, they carried Faces of Death and just shit you're not gonna find at a regular movie
upstanding
place.
Movie house.
Yeah, right. Like, everything was a little shady, you know. And I remember his dad going, "Oh, you guys should watch Last House on the Left if you're looking for something scary." And then we were like, okay. So I remember watching Last House on the Left and not being really scared by anything in the movie. Like, I was like, that's fucked up.
Right.
That, you know, but then there's the whole scene where she bites the dude's dick, and he lived at a split level. So it was one of those where like you walked into the main living room and then there was a little stairwell, like kind of
it did a U-turn.
Like not right from the front door, right? It was like you actually walked into the living room and then like midway through a wall, there was a little stairwell that went down that opened up into like another living room, right? So we were there watching it. And right when that scene happens, me and my buddy are, what, 6th grade at this point, watching this film. And we're probably too young to be watching a film of that magnitude. All of a sudden you hear us both go, "Oh my God, like what the fuck, Jesus Christ." And then you hear, boom, his dad running down, Oh God, I totally forgot she bit his dick. Like, no, turn this off. Like, don't watch this. No, like, he's thinking like we're going to watch some old school classic, like, I don't know, Vincent Price horror film. And where, no, this is just like rape, murder, like all of the big things that you're taught in life, like not to do. They went ahead and made a film about it. Right. And like, he comes running down midway after that scene, like realizing, oh God, this wasn't the stuff that you like. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie that I've turned on with my kids where they've grown up, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're old enough for this. Like, this is going to be, and it's been like comedies, right? You know, like it's never been horror. Like, I let them, when it comes to horror movies, I let them go down that road when they're ready for it. You know, like Aiden, my oldest, I've kind of pushed in to watch a little more because I'm like, dude, you're just old enough for this. Like, you can handle it, right?
Don't be like Clay. Make sure you can watch it at nighttime.
Yeah. Make sure you can survive when you ever get a girlfriend that wants, or a boyfriend or whatever, that ends up wanting to watch a lot of horror. Like, you got to be able, like, you're going to run across that person at least once. They may be your friend, they may be someone you date, but you're going to end up watching a lot more horror than you expected at one point in your life. You got to be able to survive it.
True. Yeah. So for me, I think I don't know if every teenage boy does this, but like I went through and watched all the Jasons one summer because I felt like it. I watched all the Freddys one summer. I watched all of the Michael Myers one time, you know. So I've seen all the big names. I did, like I said, Last House on the Left, and like there's about a dozen movies from the 70s that are like in that exploitation kind of like that raunch that's not like just completely shit. They're still understood to be like what they were doing and what the story they told was coherent and not like completely just trash. So I've been through that part of the 70s horror as well. Like some of the weirder, I mean, I'm not sure if you'd call Last House on the Left weird, but like that genre of 70s horror that wasn't like monsters or demons or poltergeist. It was just like fucked up people. I've been through that horror phase as well. So I have seen a large chunk of horror. I'm not like against it. Just at some point in my 20s, I was like, you know, I really like sleeping. So I'm going to not watch this movie that I just watched and then go to bed. So then it's like daytime, and then I got to make time to watch it in the daytime. Then you have kids. There's no way I'm watching that shit with the kids around. So it's either back to watching at night, then sitting in bed going, okay, brain, you can stop anytime now. Like, stop thinking about shit. Like, stop going crazy about whatever, you know.
See, dude, I love, like, man, when I watch a horror movie, and dude, I'm such a weird horror fan, right? Like, because most of the people that like horror movies are just almost over the top with it. Like, they've seen every fucking movie. They've seen every subgenre of subcategory B movie. Like, they just, and they like know the actors, and they're like, I'm just like, dude, I like getting scared. Like, I like scary movies. Like, and that's the kind of person I am. Like, I never get invested in all of the other crazy stuff that can come along with like being a horror fan. It's almost like being a metal fan. Like, I love heavy metal music, but I couldn't tell you every band member of Slayer. Right. And they're probably like I couldn't tell you every band member of Metallica. I mean, I fucking hate Metallica, and I love Slayer. I like Slayer's music, but I never personally get it that invested into like knowing who the band member guys are and all that stuff. Like, I'm just like, I don't fucking care, dude. I just like your music. Right. You know, or like your films.
So what was the last movie that scared you? Like, where you remember being, okay, I'm a legit, like, if you dropped me in a dark parking lot right now, I'd be legit terrified of what my brain would be doing to me right now. What was the last movie that did that to you?
To actually scare me like that would probably have been the first time I saw The Exorcist when I was like 13.
Yeah. That was 20 years ago. 20 plus years ago, because you're not 33, you're 34, right? Are you 34?
Yeah,
So
I'm 34.
20 plus years ago. I'm talking about, yes, you're a big horror fan, so what was the last thing that you remember? I mean, is that the last thing you remember scaring the shit out of you?
Like, to a point where, like, for your scenario, like, if I was dropped off in a dark parking lot where I'd be like, I'm going to just stand the fuck under this light till it either dies or the sun comes up, right? Like, yeah, it would be The Exorcist, because that was probably one of the second or third horror movies I really watched, and it fucking ruined me for every other horror movie. Like, they were never going to have the same effect. Now, do you remember that YouTube video, the short, where it was the light switch, the switch? That, honestly, was probably the last thing that I have watched where I got done watching it, and when I went and looked down my hallway, I went, I think my hallway is, one, a little darker than it normally is, and two, a little bit longer than I prepare. You know, like, that would have probably been the last film or last kind of horror thing that even the remake of Evil Dead, because some of the stuff in there is just,
yeah, even that didn't really get me. I watched that one. And
that's more gory, you know. Yeah. Like, it's more like, shit. If I would have had friends sleeping over that night, and one of them would have happened to like walk through the kitchen when I wasn't expecting it, I'd have been like, oh, what the fuck, right? But like,
right,
like the Conjuring movies, like those kind of like got me, because it's like that one especially where I was like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna go open my goddamn daughter's door and she's gonna be stuck to the ceiling, you know, like, 'cause that's where my brain goes with it. I'm like, you know what? I've already kissed her once tonight. She's sleeping.
She's fine.
We're good. We don't need to go test that one. But I love getting scared. Like, I love watching, even if it's a scary film that I've seen before, right? Like, almost all horror movies get me.
Okay.
Like, they almost all of them kind of make me like, the really good ones make me linger in that, and I love it. Like, I love to the point where I feel weird almost in my own house because my brain's playing tricks on me.
Right.
Like, I love that feeling, man. Like, that is, like, yeah. Like, when you when you go to like the Carney, like the fair, and it's like by like the actual traveling fair folk, right? Like, there may not be a carnival attached to it, but this is their nationwide living, right?
Right.
When you're on that like tilt-a-whirl one that's like, maybe like shaped like an octopus or something, and the arms go up and down, and it like, and you kind of get left in your seat, and you're just spinning up there at like the highest peak, and at any given moment, instant death is right there.
Right.
But like, it's the freest you feel. That rushed feeling is like what horror does for me. Like, when horror gets me like, woo, shit, like, I feel alive. Like, I'm like, yeah, man, like that. Oh, fuck, dude, let that ghost come up in here. Woo, yeah, let's see, you know, like I get revved up like a high school boy, fucking who just realized that he's a man. Like you're like, oh my god, this is what life has brought me to. This is the pinnacle. Like that's where I go with like when a horror movie gets me scared. I'm like. Everything's become clear. Like, you know.
Nice. Well,
like,
okay, so what about It Follows? Did you watch that movie yet?
Yeah, like I like that movie.
Me too. And that was the last one that, while I mean, there were aspects of it that were like legit scary, and not even like the main climax ones. More of like they did some things that were just kind of out of nowhere, and like the big tall dude coming down the hall, like while it's just a guy walking, like that was some of the like most unnerving and scary shit I've seen in a while. And like I started the new It, but I haven't finished it. So parts of it, I think they showed so many clips in the trailer that I almost like everything I've seen so far. I was like, I've already kind of seen this, so it's not really.
Yeah, like it is. I mean, I never thought like it's a good example.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like,
it's a good movie, but it's not overly terrifying. It's just a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do something like It when you have a staple like the Tim Curry It from the TV, you know, miniseries.
Oh, don't get me wrong, man. Like this It is far. I think it's a better It. Like it's way more scary.
Yeah, if it wasn't Tim Curry playing the original one, it wouldn't have been as good. The fact that it's Tim Curry, he makes it's more. I want to watch Tim Curry play It than it being that terrifying. If it wasn't Tim Curry, it wouldn't be scary.
Yeah, like have you seen The Witch?
No, but I know I need to watch it. That's one of the horror ones I know that's recent that I need to watch.
That was a movie like that was one of those movies where everyone was like, "Yo, man, that shit's scary," right? Where that's one of those movies where I watched where I went, this is kind of stupid. And then there's one scene where I was like, well, that was fucked up. I didn't need that. I'm kind of ruined now. Like, I was like, God damn it. I really wish I would have got up and went to the kitchen for a glass of water during that.
Really?
You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I know like, it was on the, like, when it came to things that I've got to watch horror-wise, there's that one and something with a dog that I can't remember the name of right now. But it's like White Wolf or something. I don't remember what it's called, but I know there's a couple. But yeah, The Witch I've heard is like there's some things in it that you're not going to forget. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like basically.
Don't spoil it for me. Don't. Okay, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
Okay. I didn't know when you were like.
You can pick it. You can pick it for the week after Evil Dead. I'll let you do horror until if you want to. I'll tell you what. Since we literally spent like 20 minutes just talking about horror movies, why don't we just do horror movies from now until we'll watch? We'll do a comedy. Like, let's do it. Or do you want to do Evil Dead 2 right now?
I want to watch The Witch again.
Let's do The Witch. I'm just saying, since we've got 6 weeks until American Horror Story starts, why don't we just do horror from now until then? Let's table my list because we're doing this on the fly. Let's table my list next week. Evil Dead 2. Let's just do it. Evil Dead 2 next week, and you come to the table with horror movie after horror movie, and you could span the genres. I want something from the 70s. If I got to watch Last House on the Left again, that's fine. I want the 80s stuff. You got 6 weeks. You plan out the 6 horror movies you want me to see, because you know how goddamn uncomfortable that shit makes me. Let's do it. I think it's a great idea. And it'll be perfect running up into American Horror Story.
Okay, I can do that.
Next week, forget our comedy. I may go watch it anyways because I remember seeing the preview and it looked funny, and I may need to watch it, you know, after some of our horror stuff. But we'll go to my list when we hit a dry spell in the wintertime. All right.
Okay, that works.
All right, Evil Dead 2 next week we'll review. So now I'm all excited. Now I got to watch a whole bunch of horror stuff. I don't need sleep. It's fine. Whatever.
I'm pumped, dude. I'm gonna show this to you. No one in the podcast will be able to.
They can't hear you either. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. No one will catch anything that I'm trying to do. But I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different versions of Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness kind of just in this one pile. Like every time there is a new release of one of these movies and I can A, afford it, or B, like notice it because I don't really look at too many physical copies of anything anymore.
True.
But like on the off chance I'm stroll through a Best Buy to go visit a museum and I noticed there's like a different version.
Damn, dude, throwing Best Buy shade right there.
But like I'll pick it up. Like I don't care. Like I still kept the DVD versions of it. I was like, I'm never getting rid of these.
Right.
I will always anything with the Evil Dead, man. Like
Tell me they've released one that is like the Necronomicon, like as the case. Like all,
yeah, I own that.
It's like bumpy. It like looks like the Necronomicon.
Yeah, dude, it is a Necronomicon
steel case.
Army of Darkness, and it's like this. You know that squishy foam that's like real popular right now,
yes.
where it like stays molded. It's like it feels like that. But it's stitched like flesh, so it's all bumpy and there's a face on it and everything, and it doesn't like hold. So like when you push it, it's like unnaturally soft for what you think it should be. So it kind of feels weird in your hand. And then when you open it, it's like the actual Necronomicon Ex Mortis from like the book. It's got the painting drawings in it, like every page that you basically saw when they like flip through real fast and that like you could make out in the movie. One of those pages was in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, we're set then. We're set until American Horror Story. And I'm crossing my fingers. I have high hopes for this season of American Horror Story because I feel like they phoned it in. I feel like it wasn't. If you go back, if you're listening right now and you go back and you listen to our review of American Horror Story, it starts out positive because it had some good starts for last season, but then we get real negative pretty quick because I felt like it was forced upon the writers. They said, look, like, Trump's president, make this season, do what you got to do.
Unlike every other season of American Horror Story, where even if you, like, I still think Asylum is the best season, and that's the season that a lot of people shit on. They're like that, and I fucking love that season.
Right? I like that. That's a great season.
I also think Freak Show was good, and they all kind of stay within their universe, and they all have their unique flair, right?
Right.
Like each one is a new presentation that's similar because it has a lot of the repetitive cast, and then they somehow managed to bring in someone new and show it off. But this last season was, like you said, almost like they had a completely other idea, or they had a loose idea with this on the off chance that it happens. Like someone said, hey, dude, we've been writing Apocalypse for the past 3 years. Like it's pretty much wrapped up. Maybe one or two loose things. And senior VP somewhere was like, hey, they got the secondary story kind of tied up because fucking Trump's winning these goddamn polls left and right over here. And they're like, no, don't worry. It won't happen. And then all of a sudden it happened. And they're like, fuck, we gotta make this happen now.
Make this season. Yeah. I felt, the one thing that's been consistent, at least the writing, is the story has always been compelling. This one, the story unraveled a third of the way in. You were like, I don't even know, or like it wasn't even, nothing felt right. Nothing felt American Horror Story about it this last season. But I have hopes this season. We're going to watch it. We're going to review it. It's going to be great.
I hope so.
I hope so. I really do. But yeah. So
I think it'll be, I think it'll be good. Like, I think it's going to be, because unfortunately the one thing about American Horror Story also is we remember the seasons like being good, or you kind of, or you have like that one season where you're just like, this is just bad.
Right.
Which for us was most certainly the last one. Mm-hmm. Like every season before this, Hotel, fucking Freak Show, like I liked all of them in their own unique way. And then if you asked me to order them, I could probably tier them by that. But each one to me was like good. And at certain points through each one of those seasons, I was like, God damn it. You know, like it's something.
It was one episode. It wasn't an entire half of the season.
Yeah, it was like something kind of threw me off, or I didn't like it, and it was just a bad episode. But then it usually like redeemed itself, right? Because they were like, "Ha, we got you,"
right?
Like, right? Or the just next episode was just better,
right?
Like this last season just kind of was like, we had 3 or 4 main ideas. Like we wanted to somehow do some weird Warhol flashback, so we kind of got that in there. And then like we wanted this and this and this to happen, and like they had these plot points, but nothing connecting them.
Yeah, and when they tried too loosely, it didn't even work right.
Yeah,
nothing made sense. There was people that were turning to cults way too quickly. This guy was convincing folks in like hours to join his like murder cult. It's like, it's not how that works. It takes a long time for someone to go, hey, I'm going to convince you to kill somebody for me. So, yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, like I feel like there could have been different ways. Like, you could have just, in the first episode, did a weird backstory about how he's been online building this cult. Like, right? Like, okay, he's been doing it for the past 3 years, and he's finally got enough people together to amass them in a group, right?
Right.
You know, something like at least then your brain will go, all right, they gave me enough of a seed for me to build a story. To go, all right, he did this background work, he's probably met with them all. These other people that quickly joined have obviously put on their member fucking sticker and was like, hey, how many toilets do I got to clean before I'm greenlit to go fucking kill people? Where this one was just like, hey, man, you want to get lunch? Yeah, I just met this guy. Oh, by the way, I murdered 3 people for him already.
Right. Yeah, it was not believable whatsoever. So whatever they have planned for this season has to be better than last season. And we're American Horror Story fans. Like, we're not just rolling into this because it's what everybody watches. We love the show. We watch the show. So we have high hopes for it. So it's we'll see. Please don't fuck us this year. I don't want it to go bad. I want it to be something good. I want it to be what they meant to film last year, but they had to table it for the Trump stuff. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah, dude, and I don't even mind like the weird shit, dude. Like, I don't care, man. Give me fucking Evan Peters masturbating in a shower. You know what? I'll take it. As long as it's got either just an odd sex scene vibe for the fucking show, because that's the type of vibe that's going on in it, right?
Right.
Or it makes the story move. But like, there was just shit like that in this show where, I mean, I get it. The guy was supposed to be gay. But I don't know how many people in just general, gay, straight, bisexual, whatever, like would just happen to run into a person they met once that was kind of like, hey man, I got some cool flirtatious vibes off of you, to immediately seeing them masturbate in a public place, like, and just stare and it wasn't like, oh shit, I got caught. It was, hey, I'm going to stare you right in the fucking eye while I do this. Like, I don't know how many people would have been like, you know what? That's my kind of guy I'm going to latch onto.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of trust building exercise I needed.
I'm going to make eye contact for my vinegar strokes. And you and I are going to be bonded forever. Yeah, exactly. Oh, The League. Rest in peace. What a great show. That's what we should review. We should review the entire series of The League when we're bored.
Oh, Jesus.
I just want a reason to watch that again.
That was one of those shows too, man. I like how we're just randomly talking about anything now. I like talking. So
I know, it's
cool.
great.
The League was one of those shows that even if your significant other wasn't into sports or fantasy, like even if they fucking hated fantasy football, they would have liked this show because it was just comedy gold that happened to have a little bit of football flair to it. Because even in later seasons, like the guest NFL guys, like were almost pointless because the dudes at that point were like carrying the show in like their own unique way. That it was like, hey, dude, you don't even need to invite this NFL guy that no one really knows about. Right? Like, because he's pretty good. Like, the only people that knew about him were fans of that team or really, really hardcore football people. Like, that show was so good on its own that you could take out any guest celebrity that came onto it and it would have still done just fine.
Yeah.
Just perfect. Like, that crew is one of those. I mean, if we're talking about TV shows that are just awesome, like Friends, no one else could have played any of those characters.
Nope, not a bit.
Right? You at no point could have substituted, like, you couldn't have cast a better anybody in this show. Like, even if they go on to act in anything else, it doesn't matter. They'll always be this. Like, Nick Kroll can do as many voices or guest spots on movies and other shit, but
he's still forever unclean.
He's fucking Ruxin, man. Like, that's what he's always gonna be. Like, you know who another dude that's gonna happen to is Nick from The New Girl.
Yeah, true. And he's been in something recently too that I was like,
he was in Tag recently, and he basically plays a high Nick. Like, he's just a stoner in that movie, and then that is, he's another one of those guys. Like, because even in the cop movie he played in with Wayne's Jr.,
right?
Like, he's just Nick in a uniform at that point. Like, he's like it's so funny. Like, he's another one of those guys.
Yeah.
Schmidt too, man.
Yeah, Schmidt.
Like, when you saw Schmidt, tell me this: when you saw Schmidt in American Horror Story Hotel,
that's the season. I haven't seen that season yet. That's the one season I haven't seen. Dude, I know what happens to him too. I know what happens in the scene.
Ignoring what happens to him in that scene, the fact that he comes on to that show, right?
Right.
And I know what was going on here in his brain. He's like, I'm on The New Girl. I'm super duper fucking famous. Everybody knows me as Schmidt. Like,
I don't want to get typecast.
No, I don't even think it was that, dude. I think it was like American Horror Story people. And I wish I could remember Schmidt's real fucking name. Doesn't matter. But I feel it's kind of one of those, like, hey, man, do you want to come onto the show? Or, like, he genuinely, like, pushed to get onto it, right? But the fact that he did the show while he was still Schmidt.
Max Greenfield.
Yes, Max Greenfield. There we go. Like, the fact that he still did the show with Schmidt was such a fucking culture shock of him, like, coming in as, like, a drug addict. You're like, I'm not even fucking processing this. And then what fucking happens to him?
Uh-huh.
I remember looking at my wife at the time going, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch The New Girl for a couple days. Like, I'm not going to be able to see Schmidt right. Like, he almost fucking ruined his own goddamn character.
Just by doing something. That's great.
Yeah. Like, that is how weird it was for him to be on that show.
Yeah.
And now I think, like, maybe if he would have done it after, it would have been such, like, a weird thing. You'd have been like, man, I didn't see that coming. But the fact that he was still on The New Girl, like, actively playing that character, it was literally like, we caught Schmidt on, like, the weekend, right? Like, this was, we just caught him what he does on the weekend. He's a drug addict and he gets raped.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, this is what Schmidt does. Yeah. When someone, I forget who told me about that scene, but I was like, I'm gonna to stand back on this season for a while. But yeah, that's that's the only season I haven't seen yet. Just because it fell through and I was watching it, and there may be, I hate to say if there's one other I haven't seen. I can't remember now.
Well, you haven't if you haven't seen Hotel, you probably haven't seen Salem either.
You're right. Or Roanoke. Is it Roanoke or Salem?
Yeah, Roanoke. Yeah.
Those
Roanoke.
are the two I haven't seen. So I probably should watch them just to watch them. I need to get to them. So
yeah, Hotel's real good.
Hotel's
I like
one.
Hotel.
I know that Roanoke, like when I go online and like look at, message boards and Reddit, for American Horror Story, Roanoke is what everybody focuses their hate on most of the time. like that it was like their least favorite of all the seasons. So I'm like, okay, but Hotel is not usually listed as the hated one. So
no, Hotel's one of those where it's kind of split,
right?
You know, like
people loved it, people didn't like it.
Like I thought Lady Gaga played great in that season. Like I actually like Lady Gaga as the witch in Roanoke. I just wish there was actually more of her because I thought that character was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what's the handsome guy's name? He played in Magic Mike. He was also like a lawyer or something on like a USA show. Matt Bonham.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh God. But like he's in it. He's in Hotel.
Yeah, I'm looking. Hold on.
Because there's like a whole scene where like his butt and everything's into it. I remember there was like a whole fucking ton of still frames going around of him.
And not Dylan McDermott, right? From season 1. He wasn't in it by that point, I don't think. He was only
he comes back in the tail end of Asylum?
Is it Cheyenne Jackson?
No.
Nope. That's not who it is?
No. It's Matt Balmer. He's another dude that
oh, yeah. That's who I thought. Okay, that's who I thought you were talking about when you said Magic Mike. Sadly, that's who that's where I knew him from. Don't ask me. But yeah.
He's another guy that looks like he could play Superman.
He could pull it off.
You know, like if you're just looking for like a
chiseled jaw.
A jawline and you know, like throw some glasses on him type. Yeah, that's a good looking dude, man. God damn.
Oh shit. Okay, you know what? I think we've talked enough. I gotta go watch Evil Dead 2 now. I'm actually, and I do know the history. Like, Evil Dead 2 was a remake of Evil Dead when they had money, right? Pretty much. I mean, is the plot the same or kind of the same?
Okay, so yeah. So what they do with the Evil Dead series is like, so in the first one, it's like the movie happens. And there's like Ash like kind of backstory, right?
Right.
Well, and so when Evil Dead 2 starts, it picks up at the house like at the tail end of it. But it's this weird, you could tell they're just kind of making the story up as it goes kind of vibe, right? Because there's odd family members that show up later in the film and blah blah blah. So for the first part of the movie, you're almost a little confused. Like, cause you're like, are they just retelling me the same story? Cause there's always this like flashback sequence. And then it's like midway through the movie, they start telling where it left off again. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, even though it's been in the house the whole time, it's like, but this should have been right after the first one. And you're like, it's not. So what the hell is going on? So it's just weird. Like maybe a couple days have gone by. I don't know, but they're just okay. So they summarized it up. I got it, and then they start retelling it. But it's basically the way this one is filmed compared to the first one. It was, you could realize that after the first film, they realized that Bruce Campbell was probably physical comedy gold at his best, right? And so the second one gets filmed like almost in a true horror comedy fashion, but not in that like, we're going to make it more funny. Like if you happen to find this shit funny because you have an odd sense of humor, you're going to find it funny while we actually still try to make things scary.
Right.
Like our person under the stairs is going to look like a person you don't want to fucking get near. That's under the stairs, right? Like right. They did a good job of doing that as well. But it's the more you look at it, it's really just a horror comedy. It's just fucking physical horror comedy gold.
Okay, well, good. I may watch Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 before next week, just to have a comparison.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening, tuning in. We appreciate you all the time tuning in, listening to us, but we definitely like the ones that hang on to the very end because, you know, we ramble. It happens. This is actually a short podcast for normal. If you look at the rest of ours, you know, 2.5 hours, you know, that's not strange for us whatsoever.
No, God, dude, it's amazing how we just like I was still going, dude. Like I could keep going.
You could,
you know. And then I looked at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna have to tell my own self to shut up. Like I was going down that rabbit hole so hard. I was like, dude, we're gonna be here for the next 4 fucking hours.
That's right. We're doing horror for the next 6 weeks. You have plenty of time to get all this out. I promise you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to us. Truly appreciate it.
Say bye to the internet, Corey.
I hope everyone has a wonderful day and or night.
Right. Don't get too scared. We'll catch you next week for Evil Dead 2 review.